Welcome to episode 1 of A Lyrical History of 17. The goal of this video series is to dive deep into 17's lyrics, to look at themes, imagery, to look at patterns in their lyrics that come back again and again, and ones that change over time. My current plan is for this series to cover all official whole group Korean and Japanese releases. I also want to be clear that this is a lyrical history of 17. There's a lot to be said about their sound and their musicality, but these videos specifically will be looking at their lyrics. Episode 1 is going to cover the first 4 albums, 17 Carat, Boys B, The First Love and Letter, and The Repackage. I don't feel these albums get much discussion, but really the groundwork for the imagery and theme 17 is going to continue to come back to is laid here. Especially in the later 2 albums, we're going to start to see a lot of variety in the types of songs, which is also an indicator of where 17 is headed. So let's jump in. 17 Carat is just such a perfect introductory album for 17. A lot of the things that we see in the album are going to become the standard for future 17 albums. So the fact that we have a couple of whole group songs and then one song for each unit, this becomes the hallmark of 17 mini albums. The fact that we have Aju as co-writer or co-composer on all of the songs, that we have Boomzu involved, that we have other people from Prison Filter, that we have writing credits from 6 other 17 members. All of these are things that are going to become standard for 17's songs. In addition, some of the themes and ideas that we see introduced in the album are going to become the foundation for 17's lyrical message. We see the roots here of what 17 is going to return to again and again, and also places that 17 is going to grow from. So let's take a look at what each song and the album as a whole gives us as an introduction to 17. The album opens with the song Shining Diamond, which I consider to be 17's thesis statement of who they are and who they want to be as a group. And I've written about Shining Diamond. The lyrics are very clever. Diamond in the lyrics is used to symbolize 17's value. It's used to symbolize their strength and endurance even through hardships. And then it's also used as their promise to their fans. And of course, the fandom being named after this diamond metaphor makes it even more significant. While to the general public, early 17 was known for their young love, fresh teen sound, their very first song, it launches what I call Ambition Teen. They were ambitious and determined to be successful from day one. But also from day one, we see their commitment to each other. The lyrics come back to the fact that they are strong as a team. And we also see that they're committed to their fans. The line 17 Carat can't copy this is a reference both to 17 themselves and to their fans. So from the very beginning, 17 has connected ambition, success, with a connection to their fans. 17's debut title track, of course, is Adore You. And this song really launches 17's public image with what we now call fresh teen. We've got this bright, upbeat song of young love. In addition to the members' beautiful vocals and fun performance and just the general joy that the song has in its sound, I think one of the reasons why Fresh Teen resonates so much is that the lyrics feel very real and genuine. It sounds like a conversation you would have with a friend or maybe with yourself as you're getting ready to confess to your crush. We also see some nuance in the lyrics. We see them being willing to be vulnerable. They're clearly not the ones in control of the situation, or their feelings. And we also see that they want to provide support for their love interest. It's really just the perfect encapsulation of that charming awkwardness at the beginning of falling in love. So in the first two tracks, Shining Diamond and Adore You, we get Ambition Teen and then we get Fresh Teen, both of which are going to become two key aspects of their group's identity. So once the whole group has established these important themes in the first two tracks, each unit gets a chance to distinguish themselves and shine on their own. And of course, the third track is hip hop unit's Aw Yeah. Aw Yeah is full of swagger and confidence. It's basically a diss track declaring that anyone who doesn't get what they're doing has no taste. It's really cool to see that already in their first song, each member of the hip hop unit has his own distinct style of rapping and his own distinct style of writing lyrics. Mingyu's lyrics are seemingly simple, but they're full of this swagger and they really hit. Scoops is not afraid to be confrontational. He is ready to tell things like they are. We see Wonu already developing elaborate, well-crafted metaphors to make his points. And Vernon, of course, his lyrics are already full of clever wordplay. It's very satisfying to see that the hip-hop unit of then is so similar in many ways to the hip-hop unit of 2023-2024. I think it's worth noting again just how confident and ambitious 17 was coming out of the gate. And that's going to be a theme in their music that's going to be really interesting to track over their slow and steady growth. The next track is Performance Unit's Jam Jam. Such a funky little track, which of course establishes Performance Unit's tendency to be more experimental in the genres that their songs come in. At first glance, the lyrics of Jam Jam seem a little bit all over the place. We're invited to dance along with them, but we're also supposed to relax and ignore our phone. And then we have Vernon's verse. Honestly, I feel like Vernon's verse is a little out of place with the rest. It just sounds like Vernon being Vernon. Overall, the message of the song does coalesce essentially into enjoying yourself and enjoying their performance as the way to enjoy yourself. Performance Unit tends to invite us someplace new with their songs. And in this case, since this is their first song, they are the new experience that can release us from our stress. Vocal Unit's 20 is the final track on the album. This song is just such a happy pill with their charming vocals and these sweet lyrics. A lot of the lyrics sound similar to what we have in Adore You. We have this confession of love at the early stages. We have this vulnerability and hesitance over whether they will be accepted. These lines in the chorus introduce what's going to become one of the main themes in 17's discography. And that is about connection and quality time. The way that you show your love for somebody is by spending time together. So Vocal Unit establishes themselves as the part of the group with these amazing vocals who are also romantic and vulnerable. When we look at all the songs on 17 Carat together, we really get a sense of who 17 is as a group. We see their ambition and their confidence. We see their connection to their fans and the flirty way that they want to draw us in. And we also see their romantic and affectionate side as well. The most repeated themes in 17's discography are already here in their first album, waiting to be explored and expanded on in their subsequent songs. The second mini album follows the same formula as the first, with 2 whole group songs and then 1 song for each unit. Boys B takes a single theme, the idea of young love, and expands on it beyond what we saw in 17 Carat. There are a number of things that are consistent with 17 Carat. For instance, most of the songs are very upbeat sounding and bright. We also get a similar type of tone to the confessional crush language that we heard in 17 Carat. The repeated theme of spending quality time together show up again. And we also get this idea that the nighttime, spending time together under the moon, is synonymous with intimacy and connection, certainly a theme that we'll see later. And each of the units gives us a similar showing. So we once again have our sweet, romantic vocal unit. We once again have our dramatic, ambitious performance unit. Interestingly, hip hop unit here, their song Fronting is much more fresh teen. It's focused on an early relationship. What's similar here though is that each member's personality shines through his individual verse. We see Vernon, as he says, trying to play it cool, putting up this cool front with the girl. We see Mingyu willing to show how embarrassed he gets around his crush. We see a little bit of S-Scoop's possessive side. And we see Wonu willing to take the most risk of all. But despite the similarities, Boys B is not merely a repeat of 17 Carat. Instead, they take the single theme of young love and they explore different complications to it. In Fronting, for instance, how do you manage early in a relationship? How do you express your interest in someone and your care for them, but also dealing with challenges along the way? Mansae is very similar to Adore You in the fact that they're trying to confess their feelings for a girl, but are still lacking confidence. However, we see a new theme in Mansae emerge, and that is a theme of jealousy. There's a concern that somebody else might have a chance before they do, that they're not going to be able to turn their dreams into reality. We also see them thinking about practical ways that they can show their affection, holding hands, protecting someone from a busy street. There's a lot of romantic gestures in there that we haven't seen mentioned before. I have to talk about these lines here. First of all, because this flower metaphor is a preview for what we're going to see in Pretty You, but mostly because this is a play on the Rose of Sharon song, the one they use for Red Light, Green Light. And the pattern of the song in this part actually matches that original song, and they even reference it in the music video. So Mansae is a lot like Adore You, but if things feel a little bit more grounded, maybe a little bit more real. Track 3, Vocal Units When I Grow Up, continues to show the complexities of young love. Unlike in Fronting or Mansae, here the barrier to success is their age or time. We see again their interest in keeping the girl to themselves, but we also see a really interesting wistfulness, almost like a pre-nostalgia for the future. Despite the fact that they seem very aware that they need to grow up, the song has a lot of reflection and maturity to it. It shows them as patient and dedicated. The only arguable exception to this theme of young love is performance unit's OMG. And this song is really about their ambition. They're feeling a little bit of success already and they're determined to continue that. They're enjoying the appreciation of their fans. They're enjoying being able to shock and impress those who watch them perform. So while this song does not deal directly with young love, it does deal with their desire for fame, and it does deal with the desire of their audience to see them perform. And in this way, by introducing the theme of desire, it leads us into the final song of the album. And can we really have a whole album about young love without talking about sex? And that's what the last track, Rock, is about. It's about sexual desire, or at the very least, sexual attraction. They describe their feelings as pain and intoxication. They talk about how their love interest has control over the way their body feels and their emotions. We get the sense of them driven to a peak of frenzy, seeking release. Navigating the complexities of sexual desire and the lack of control it can bring to your body and your mind fits well within the themes of this album. And musically, this song makes a heck of a album closer. Boys B is a very lyrically cohesive album. Really, the whole thing is about the complexities of young love, both positives and negatives. And this cohesiveness in a mini album is something that we're going to see in later 17 albums as well. Taking a single idea and exploring that concept in multiple ways. And Boys B does that with its theme very well. Love and Letter is 17's first full album. And like their other full albums, it really is a journey. 17 Carat introduces us to the group. Boys B sets the formula for what a mini album is going to be. But this album is where we really start to get depth and nuance and complexity. The themes that we have seen in the first two albums do reoccur, but we also have a lot of new things going on in Love and Letter. We have the first official mixed unit songs, and those songs deal with a lot more complex topics, the downsides of fame, and just the difficulties of daily existence. We have love songs for sure, but we also see a lot of hesitance surrounding love, and we even have our first song of heartbreak. The album opens with the song Chuck, and the title is a play on the sound of the Korean phrase thumbs up, which is what they want everyone to give them because of their success. In Shining Diamond, they use the traditional Korean gesture for a kid inviting others to play of sticking their thumbs up. And here we see thumbs as an audience indication of approval. So the whole song is about 17's success and the way they invite their audience in to enjoy that success. I find it fun that all three 17 songs that start with cha are about the same theme of ambition and success. Chuck has a lot of specific lyrics that are really similar to later ambition teen songs, so it's fun to see this as a predecessor of songs like Hit and Hot and Maestro. Pretty You is peak fresh teen. They are once again building up their courage to confess their love to their crush. There's a lot of clever wordplay in the lyrics. And I particularly like the way that flowers are used as a metaphor, not only for their crush, also for the words that they want to deliver to their crush. And then in the outro, flowers become the traditional guessing game of whether she loves me or not. The emotions described in the lyrics are pretty consistent with Adore You and Mansae. My favorite thing lyrically about Pretty You is that it actually builds up a sense of action. In the bridge, we see these quick changes of members and these determined lines, and finally we get the last chorus where they declare they actually are going to confess to their crush. So there's a sense in the song that they are actually moving forward with their intentions. The first two tracks serve as the next step in the themes of ambition and young love that 17 has already established. And it's after the first two tracks that we get into the new themes and ideas we're going to see in the album. If you aren't paying attention to the lyrics, you might think that track 3, Still Lonely, is just another fun, upbeat, fresh teen song. But that couldn't be further from the truth. The Korean title of Still Lonely can be translated as This Cursed Popularity, and that's exactly what the song is about. The downsides and disappointments that come with success and fame. The main tension in the song is between how much attention they are getting, people constantly seeking them out, their phone ringing all the time, and how little meaning those interactions actually have. While they're overwhelmed with popularity, they still feel lonely. Vernon's verse compares popularity to being in the ocean. It can be pleasant and exciting, but at the same time, popularity can be overwhelming and fame can be fickle. The whole song is filled with contrasts. They are soaked in popularity, but their hearts are all dried out. They are surrounded but alone. Wanu's lines describing his posture perfectly encapsulate how they present themselves to the world in contrast to how they actually feel. They know they should be happy for their success, but at the same time, they can't deny their disappointment. While most of us can't relate to being famous, I think we've all had a time where what we're supposed to feel is different from how we actually feel. This song is one of their most honest, and in that way it brings an important depth and vulnerability that we had not necessarily seen in the first two albums. Looking at the title of track 4, you would think that Hit Song would be another Ambition teen song. This song is about their desire for it to be a hit, but for a very particular reason. They're wishing for people to listen to their songs because that means people are thinking of them. They're asking you to listen to the song all throughout the day because that means they're spending the day with you. Popularity is not desired for its own sake, but because it is associated with being connected to Carats. Chuck, Still Lonely, and Hit Song are such an interesting trio to have on the same album because the first is a celebration of success, the second is all about the difficulties of success, and Hit Song is maybe their motivation for continuing to make songs. Having these three contrasting songs on the same album, allowing all three of these songs to exist, all three of these things can be true, gives that depth and nuance that we really start to see in the album. In addition, Hit Song introduces this very wistful tone that we're going to see over the next several tracks. Before I looked at the lyrics to Say Yes, just based on the title and the beautiful sound of it, I assumed it was a proposal song, and I could not have been more wrong. Here we have 17's very first heartbreak song, and it's filled with longing and sorrow and regret. The lyrics are very evocative of how it feels to wish you could change something but know that you can't. But I think we can all agree that the real star of this song, of course, is the vocals. Track 6 is Drift Away, and I just don't know any other song like this one. It's such an interesting topic, a reflection on what it means to be a human living within the flow of time. The lyrics are very nostalgic, almost melancholy. There's a sense that they wish they could stop time, feeling like they're losing something as they move forward into the future. There's so much tension in the song about what time means. We see that trying to hold on too tight to the past, not paying enough attention to the present, can lead to pain. But at the same time, losing your memories and some sense of self, changing over time as things move into the future, can also bring pain. In contrast, we also see that time can heal. Things that were painful in the past as they move into the future become simply memories. They talk about how they know that they can't help but move forward into the future, and this is both good and bad. The title itself, Drift Away, reinforces this tension. Drifting away suggests a lack of control, like they have no power to affect where their life is going to go. At the same time, drifting can have a positive connotation. It can be really pleasant to just go with the flow, or to feel like you will always be carried forward into the future. There's a safety in that. I really think this song is quite deep. It's melancholy and hopeful, reluctant and full of acceptance, all at the same time. And as unique as it is, it still fits perfectly within Love and Letter album. It matches the same wistfulness and the sense of contrast and tension. So we may be seeing here a certain helplessness that they are feeling at this point in their career. The unit songs this time are all technically remixes of previous 17 songs. Vocal unit covers Adore You. There's very little change here other than taking out some of the rap parts. And so not surprisingly, we end up with a very sweet, romantic cover matching vocal unit's image. Performance unit has a remix of Shining Diamond. I will say I'm a little disappointed in this version. I mean, it's clearly meant to be a dance mix, but I can't find a copy of it. It's a little bit of a disappointment that it includes other members' voices. And considering how different the vocal unit remix and the hip hop unit remix feel, it feels like we got a little shortchanged on this one. However, it does match well with their other songs, which are about ambition and connection with fans. The most changed song, of course, is Hip Hop Unit's Monday to Saturday. And while it keeps the refrain from Mansae, this is functionally an entirely different song. All the lyrics in the verses are different, and it really allows Hip Hop Unit to once again show off their lyrical skills. The song explores a lot around the concept of how time feels, connecting it to Drift Away, and their sense of weariness with their day-to-day existence and the busyness of their schedule also connect it to Still Lonely. I particularly like Wanu's verse. In the original Mansae, we had a reference to two characters from Korean children's stories. And here Wanu makes a similar reference, these two characters who are viewed as meant to be together. But his reference is to a mythological couple that are separated most of the time. So it's a perfect reference for Hip Hop Unit in this song, only getting to see their love interest once a week. And of course, as we've seen and will continue to see, the emphasis here is on the importance of quality time. Love Letter takes a lot of the lyrical themes from the whole album and weaves them together into a beautiful closing. Like Pretty You, Love Letter has this lack of confidence in how they express their emotion, and yet also a determination to share their affection. Like Drift Away, we see them expressing a desire to move beyond the pain of difficult memories. Unlike Hit Song and Monday to Saturday, we see them wanting that connection, wanting to be close. Like a number of 17 songs, this could be interpreted either as a straightforward romance or it could be interpreted as a message to fans. So it fits in well with the Fresh Team theme, but it also fits in well with the theme of connection that we see in other songs. Love Letter is also the first in a long line of 17 closing songs that focus on comfort and dedication to their listeners. We have a lot of thematic connections between the songs, but we also have songs that seem to sit in tension with each other. For instance, we start the album with Chuck, and not long after it in the album we have Still Lonely. We have title track Pretty You with its upbeat confession of love, and in contrast to that we have Say Yes, this song of longing for someone who's left you. So like many of the songs themselves, the album as a whole feels caught in a tangle of emotions. There's hope, there's nostalgia, there's sadness, there's hopefulness, all mixed together. It feels very true to the experience of being a young adult. The Love and Letter repackage has 5 new songs, which are all quite different from each other. There's a lot going on here. But while the new songs manage to be distinct, they also expand on the themes brought up in the original album. The repackaged album starts with something new, our first real breakup song. No F.U.N. in some ways is the inverse of all the Fresh Teen songs that we have seen. Instead of being excited about their crush and enjoying those feelings, we find them disappointed in the reality of their situation. As the chorus makes it clear, their lover cannot give them what they want. And what is it that they want? They want honesty. They want a relationship that is real beyond the surface level. They want a relationship that is two-sided and in which the other person shows consideration for them. In direct contrast to track 1 is track 2, the famous, the notorious, the unstoppable Aju Nice. Aju Nice is the description of how they feel on their way to their first date. And the whole song and the music behind it just captures that joy that new love can bring. Previous Fresh Teen songs were a lot more hesitant and maybe less confident, but Aju Nice is just filled with exuberant happiness. We do see them wondering if they can hold on to this good feeling forever, but they never really slip into worry or true concern. Aju Nice has obviously sort of outgrown its roots and now has this important place as a concert closer for 17. And while the song has nothing to do with music or concerts, it does capture that sense of a feeling so good that you want to experience it again and again. Track 3 is Healing, a quintessential 17 comfort song. The song is a perfect balance between acknowledging the difficulties of a busy life, how hard it is to get away, how easy it is to feel overwhelmed. All of that, however, is balanced with the joy of letting yourself go. The song is all about giving yourself permission to enjoy each moment. In a lot of ways, Healing feels like an answer to the complaints from Still Lonely. One of the problems in Still Lonely is being so busy that you feel disconnected from yourself. And the answer in Healing is taking a rest. In Still Lonely, they're overwhelmed by other people's expectations and unwanted attention, and the answer in Healing is to find meaningful connection. We see this in S.Group's lines, which are my favorite in the whole song. This beautiful invitation to put aside the things that stress you, like your phone, and if that feels difficult, if it's hard to disconnect, you find someone who is able to help you rest. Healing even picks up on the ocean imagery that we saw in Still Lonely. But unlike in the previous song, where waves represented the overwhelming nature of the attention they got from their job, here the ocean represents peace and being separate from your job. We've seen a lot of bits of other songs leading up to this, but I would say that Healing is the first full song that I would classify as comfort teen. The fourth track is Uji's solo, Simple, which is in fact the only solo song on any 17 album. Simple is difficult for me to talk about. Out of all of the songs that I've heard from anywhere in my entire life, this song may be my favorite. I think the lyrics really speak to the strength and beauty of Uji's mindset. He sometimes might feel like he's unimportant, or he feels humbled. He feels like the world might be too complicated for him, or even that people might be working against him. Yet, despite all of this, we see him determined and hopeful. He rejects others' suggestions that happiness is not real or it's something that can't be achieved. And instead, he remains dedicated to this idea that he and the people he cares about can achieve happiness. Looking at Simple's lyrics feels like getting a little glimpse of Uji's heart. And what we see there is perseverance, sensitivity, hope, and compassion. These qualities that spill out into so much of the rest of Uji's songs. I'm getting sentimental here, but I truly think Simple is one of the best gifts that Uji has ever given us. The final new track on the repackage is Space, or its Korean title, Can't See the End. In it, Hip Hop Unit, assisted by DK, share with us the painful details of their lives. Some of these are issues that they have mentioned before, some of the downsides of fame, feeling like they are overwhelmed by meeting other people's expectations, feeling that the pace of their life is too fast with no time for rest. Here they describe that things have gotten so bad for them that they feel completely isolated, unable to talk to other people. And they also feel disconnected from their own selves and from their goals. After their extremely bleak verses, each member has a line at the end where they reaffirm their belief that even though they are far from their goals can still be met. They are still able to get themselves back on track. Can't See the End is one of 17's darkest songs, but it's like so many others, they show us at the end of the song that even in the depths of space, there's still a glimmer of light and hope. The order of the repackaged songs is interesting. It's pretty depressing to go from healing to simple to space, and it's a little jarring to go from space into Chuck, the first track of the main album. However, the themes that the repackaged songs bring up fit in really well with the themes of First Love and Letter. We have more depth on the struggles of their career. We have more hope as they give themselves permission to rest. We have more jubilant, fresh teen with the arrival of Aju Nice. So the new songs fit well within the concept of the album as a whole. The first 4 albums clearly established 17's main themes: young love and its complications, ambition and its downsides, the importance of quality time and togetherness. By a little over a year after their debut, 17 had already established their sound. They had established their lyrical themes and then added nuance to those themes. The first 4 albums are an incredible base of 17's discography, and they leave open so much possibility for how 17 will grow and develop. So I'll see you next time for episode 2.